Alright, before the video starts, I just want to say, if this video does well, I will do a part 2 with Red Hulk where I just put on all the boosts, all the synergies, and I'll see how monstrous this champion is whenever he is at his maximum potential. So if you want to see that, support the video. But now let's talk about Red Hulk in general. Now this champion in 2024 is still such a powerhouse, and that is crazy because this champion is from 2016. Now of course the buff was like, much later, but the buff is still pretty old too. So let that just show you how powerful this character still is. The damage here, for example, is just incredible. Like, the red numbers do so much work, and it's like over 14,000 damage on that medium attack. It is some really good stuff, and we can just drop another combo. No crits, but it's fine. But then we go back in yet again, drop the SP2 for the regen, and yeah, it is just some pretty dang good stuff, man. Like, the red numbers are just so good, and when he crits, it's just something special for sure. But now we have this hazard shift lane, and this should show you just how crazy this champion is sometimes. So we're going to go in, drop a combo, get all those furies up from the node, and just take in all those poisons and incinerates. And yeah, that was about an 8-second fight right there. Not much to say about that. That's just Red Hulk doing Red Hulk things, right? But yeah, any poison matchup, any incinerate matchup, it's just perfect for Red Hulk, right? Because he purifies them. Well, not purifies them, but he like removes them. He gains his heat charges, and you just do so much damage in like such little time. It is so good. And outside of those matchups, like any mystic matchups, any energy matchups are also just perfect for him. Like, he has a lot of good matchups, and that's why he is just still relevant to this day, 8 years later after his release. It is just so cool. I love champions that are like really old but still have a ton of value in this game, and Red Hulk is definitely one of those characters. Like, check that out, a 12-second fight, just some crazy stuff. Now we have this Miles Morales here on a different node, but it's also hazard shift, so Red Hulk is going to love this one for sure. And with this Spider-Man fight, you can't use special attacks because of his spider camo, right? But Red Hulk just doesn't care because he doesn't have to use any special attacks, especially in these like poison and incinerate matchups, and also the mystic and energy damage matchup. So he is just so simple in that regard too, because you just hit the opponent, you drop your special attack if you want. You don't even have to do that part. You can just hit them with your basic hits, and that's it. And yeah, Miles Morales crushed in about 29 seconds, which is just insane. But now we have this Juggernaut fight, more health, more tankiness, but it also goes to show how sometimes Red Hulk is a bit RNG reliant, because if you don't crit a ton in your matchup, it'll be a much different result than like when you do crit a ton in another matchup. So that is like my one issue with this character, but it's also the #1 reason why I think Red Hulk should be a 7-star champion. And let me explain. So, stat focus, a massive thing for so many different champions, right? If Red Hulk had that stat focus for crit rate, he would just be so strong, because that means he can just crit way more often and get those massive red numbers a lot more often too. Now, additionally, I feel like while Red Hulk and Human Torch are very similar, I feel like Human Torch is the one that will just be locked out from a 7-star version for a while, right? And I think Red Hulk is better than Human Torch in some regards when it comes to just like safetyness and reliability, plus also having like the poison immunity as well. I feel like Red Hulk does have some better things, but I think Human Torch is more dangerous as a 7-star. So I feel like between the two, Red Hulk should get the nod over Human Torch. But then again, Red Hulk is just as bonkers. Like, that right there was a 20-something second fight. It is just unreal how good this champion is sometimes. And it's just like amazing how this 2016 champion still has a ton of use in like 2024 Alliance War, for example, like hazard shift stuff. You can just use Red Hulk there, and he just dominates that first lane. And plus, with how like simple he is to play, that means that he can take a ton of champions on those nodes, because you just can't really hinder yourself, right? Because you just have to do your basic hits. There is like no ramp up, and yeah, he just covers so much ground with his very, very simple kit, right? That's why Red Hulk is still so powerful. And yeah, right there, he just destroyed that fight too. Now we have this Jubilee matchup, and she is all energy damage, so that means Red Hulk will just ramp up even faster against her, which is perfect. Like, all these matchups in this video are very ideal for Red Hulk, but even like the Captain Marvel fight that had no energy hits, that still went pretty dang good because his damage output, even in normal matchups, is honestly pretty solid. Now, I am using Recall Masteries here, and that is honestly like a cheat code for Red Hulk because that really bumps up his basic hits, which bumps up the red numbers, and yeah, it is just a massive increase for him. But then again, he is good with them because he is poison immune, and he has that regen as well. So it's like, everything just works for this guy. Everything just is so efficient with him. But now we have this Mojo boss right here, and he just shreds him because I think Mojo does have negative physical resistance, and also he is just so like, he's just so easy with any science character. But like, especially Red Hulk here that just gains charges so fast, especially with that SP1 that has like 10 hits, I feel like. It is just such a good time for Red Hulk. And of course, he's not like the perfect Mystic counter because Red Hulk still gains buffs. He can't like be Nullify immune. He's not buff immune. Like, it's just, he doesn't have any of the new science tropes, right? But I feel like he doesn't necessarily need them because his target is just crushing those Mystic, energy damage, poison, incinerate matchups, and he's doing that as is, which is really good for a buff that is super old, right? And it's just because the burst potential of this champion in those matchups is just unreal, to the point where like, you don't have to have the utility to counter the fight if you just have his damage output. So that's why he is still doing really good despite the meta shifting so much. But yeah, that boss fight was just way too easy for him. He crushed that Mojo in like, what, a minute and something. Really good stuff there. Now we have this Mr. Negative boss, and this one is so fun because it has energy adoption fire. So we get ramped up really fast here, which is so cool. And this has a weird node where like, it picks a certain like attack, right? And that attack gets bonus attack rating, but the other attacks that you do get like 0 attack rating. It's honestly really fun to play around with. And yeah, the incinerates are just fueling us big time, so there is pretty much no stress for this matchup. It is really straightforward. Mr. Negative though is pretty annoying sometimes, so I'm just trying to not parry because if you parry him, things can just go south really fast. But yeah, so far so good here. Now I have to do just heavy attacks, I believe, but I'm just going to try to switch that to medium attacks, which I do. And yeah, so far so good. We're going to go back in, drop some medium attacks, drop the relic, and yeah, no crits, but it's fine. His crit rate is pretty low, but when it does happen, it is just magical, like right there, for example. So yeah, that's why like a 7-star Red Hulk will be really good, because that extra crit rate is going to be so powerful for him. Will it be too good? Maybe, but I still want to see it happen, right? But now it's the battle of the beefcakes. We have 2 extra large champions. 2 go in, 1 comes out. What's going to happen? Well, this matchup is very annoying, especially for champions that just don't counter, evade, or unstoppable, which Red Hulk does not. But Red Hulk just has that grit, right? He has that determination. He doesn't care about those nodes, which, you know, are pretty scary for sure, but he can do it. He'll be just fine. This matchup though, yeah, it's pretty unideal for Red Hulk because like the unstoppable is just a massive hindrance to his momentum, and Red Hulk is all about like that aggression, right? You want to be super aggressive, get the fight down before like anything can mess him up. But with this 800,000 health pool, it's hard to do that for Red Hulk, right? So that's why this matchup isn't the best for him. I feel like Red Hulk is more for those kind of bursty matchups, not those really long fights, but he can take the long fights as well if they are good for him, like if they are Mystic champions or anything else that just like fuels his heat charges, right? But this matchup is at like a stalemate, I feel like. We're both pretty low on health, but I guess we are winning so far, which is pretty good. But yeah, this is a close one because we are just barely hanging on, but we're doing enough, and that's all that matters. Red Hulk is doing enough here. And yeah, we drop a combo, drop the SP1, and it's getting really, really close now. So I just go in and I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's just go for the finish here. So I dropped the SP1 and it crits on both hits. So yeah, what a nice ending to that matchup. It was insanely close, but we got it done. But that was just such a fun fight. And honestly, like 1:33 seconds, pretty good time there as well. But now we have this Bishop matchup. And this matchup is just so much fun because check this out. He's going to drop the SP1, which is usually dangerous, right? But not for Red Hulk. You want that to happen because that means you get a bunch of incinerates on you and those get removed. So that means you just get a bunch of heat charges. So yeah, in these like scenarios versus Bishop, it is just perfect. And there I get the Dex, which is pretty nice. And yeah, so far so good. We are doing pretty consistent damage. But yeah, now we're at max ramp, so there really isn't anything to worry about at this point. Just gotta dodge a special attacks and we're chilling, which here he drops it and I get the Dex. Well, for the most part, right? But there I forgot about Hurt Locker, so I am in danger, but then I drop the heavy attack, so nothing is concerning me now. But Bishop is of course still very scary to fight, so anything can just go south in a second. That's how Bishop works. But there I drop my combo and the meltdown expires on him, which is perfect. But then he drops CSP2. I go for the Dex and I miss it a bit, so that's fine. I took some damage there. No big deal. Red Hulk has like a ton of health, so I'm not really fussed about that. And yeah, I just gotta, you know, play better now, right? Because I'm in not like danger, but I lost a fair bit of health there for sure. So there I get the Dex, which is just amazing. And yeah, now this matchup is almost over, like pretty close to being over, to be honest. Here I drop CSP1, no big deal because I am immune to incinerate, so nothing happens to me. I drop my own SP1, he drops his again, which is no big deal, but the block damage does hurt a bit, but this matchup is over anyway. So yeah, pretty clean fight there besides my few mistakes. Red Hulk just like a perfect Bishop counter in my opinion because of that Incinerate Purify. And yeah, Red Hulk is just such a good champion. For being from 2016, he is just doing so well still in 2024. And you just love to see that, right? I love when old champions are just still super powerful, and like Red Hulk is definitely a really good character still. So yeah, I want that 7-star Red Hulk. And I want to see him just like dominate as a rank 3 7-star especially. But let me know your thoughts on Red Hulk. And yeah, that's about it for me.